Awesome.
All
Hey,
right.
look, we live now. Here we are. Hey, just want to come to you guys, bring another episode to you. As you know, I'm Coach D. Uh, here with Guarantee Solutions, but just wanted to have a conversation today. Um, kind of centered around the automotive industry and credit. And man, I thought, who else and none other to bring than somebody that's very special to me personally. So I wanted to just give a quick moment to allow him to introduce himself to you guys. But I'm excited for this. As we just jump right in and talk a little bit about automotive ourselves and the credit industry. And so jump in. Feel free to ask questions too. If you guys have some questions, I'd be happy to throw them up and we'll answer some questions here towards the end as well. But Josh, why don't you go ahead and let everybody know who you are and where you're from? So,
All right. Yep. I'm Josh Jackson from Hudsonville, Michigan, born and raised. Coach D is my dad. So there's where that special relationship is.
that's right.
Currently working at Benton Imports, sales consultant for pre-owned there. Just under 2 years. So time flies when you're selling cars. Um, Recently engaged. Yeah, I mean,
Come on.
yep. Amen.
Amen.
But yeah, short little intro. I'm ready to get into these questions. So
All right, perfect. Well, I kind of don't know if you've seen the thumbnail I put out there, but kind of just letting people know what we were going to be doing. But on that thumbnail, I had a kind of a picture. And I don't know if maybe you want to kind of explain what that picture was to everyone, what that kind of represented. There's a reason I put that out there, but
oh yeah.
yeah, go ahead and let them know what that was.
Yeah, so that's a funny story because I didn't know what that was for the longest time.
Yeah.
But yeah, first day selling. Yeah, my first day selling. Um Ended up selling 2 cars, so that was really cool. But
Yeah.
you just randomly told me, you're like, you need a tie, man. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like, I don't got a tie. And you're like, all right, well, here's a tie. He's like, I'm gonna cut it now. I was like, what? What do you mean you're gonna cut it?
Yeah.
So a little bit of a backstory though is, when you sell your first car, you get your tie cut. So
Yeah.
and that's just kind of a symbolism of like, okay, this is you starting out in a new business and just kind of a celebratory thing. So that was really cool. That was the first pick I got with that. So that was just a cool moment, cool experience. It's
Yeah.
nice to get given a tie because I did not have one. You weren't cutting my shirt. So
Yeah. That's all right. It was one of your old ties anyway, so
yeah.
that wouldn't have fit me. So I've been like way up to here somewhere. But no, that's awesome. So, I mean, for those of you who don't know, I'm also in the automotive industry, been in the automotive industry about 20 years now. So, when I entered the automotive industry, it was a lot different. I would say because really the internet really kind of just started. It was a lot of people still came in and shopped, live more so than on the internet. Do you still see that today? You still see that, Josh, or do you feel like pretty much everybody shops on the internet now before they ever step foot on the dealership or on the lot, if you will?
Um, yeah, I would say it's probably like a 70-30. 70% being people who have done research. Um, and it kind of ranges with how much research they do. Maybe they just took a couple peeks. Maybe, they did very in-depth research and they know more than I do. So
Mhm.
it happens both ways. But yeah, we do get quite a few people who come in, they're just kind of shopping, don't really know what they want, haven't really looked online at all. But most of the time, yeah, that's the case now, which, as you said, that's a lot different from when you were selling. So
Yeah,
it's a big change for sure.
yeah, definitely. Definitely. You starting to see more and more buyers like your age. Like, what do you find like in your age group? Most clients or what kind of questions they're asking or what kind of concerns they might have, or are they just really kind of new to it all still?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking about too when I was thinking about what we were going to talk about. Um, I would say my demographic has the biggest questions with credit. Um, and that's just because they weren't, I mean, I wasn't even really taught. I'm 22, so I'm clearly aware of what it is now. But, that time from like college or sorry, high school to college, like that, that little time frame,
Yeah.
in my opinion, that's probably the most important time for a lot of people. Just from what I've seen, that's a really big couple of years. You could buy a couple credit cards. You just turned 18. You could be going to college, student loans. You're buying a lot of things. So that's the biggest question I get with my age group is a lot about credit. They're just excited to buy a car, right? I mean,
Right.
you're young, you're ready to get in something. I mean, what can I
Right.
get? Like, you're just as long as you can hit the payment, um, you know. So I
Yeah.
would say that's the biggest thing um, for my age group for sure is just credit questions for the most part. Other than that, they're just really excited.
Yeah. No, I can imagine that they are, especially just starting out, getting ready to get their first, maybe their second car,
Hmm.
like just coming out of college or even just out of high school, getting started. Um, it's definitely tough in the credit world, starting off because, a lot of times you haven't built anything, right?
Right.
And that's why, like you mentioned, I wasn't well versed in credit, and I can't say maybe I wasn't well versed, but I wasn't mature with my credit, didn't really understand it, know how to use it. So even trying to teach you guys to how to have credit or even help you establish credit, like, yeah, right. With everything that I had gone through and was going through, that made it a lot tougher to be able to do. But
Right.
that's definitely one thing I help my clients and also help others to help their kids get reestablished or get established with credit right away, because you can definitely do that. And that helps you in the long run. It helps our children in the long run, because then not only are we helping you establish, but we're also then able to really have a conversation around what it looks like, how to handle it, how to
Right.
use it, not just to buy things, but how to maximize it, how to take that and invest in yourself and in other ways that produces even more as an individual. So,
Right.
yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. So, what kind of cars do you actually sell over there?
Whole lot of different things.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, we have our three brands: Volvo, Mercedes, Volkswagen. So those are my, top three that I would say for sure. That's just the most units we get, but we sell a wide variety of things. So Lexus, Toyota, Honda, Hyundai, we'll take it all in as long as it looks good and will look good on our lot.
yeah,
Yep.
that's right.
So
Well, good. So now the tough questions, like, do you enjoy the auto industry? Like, do you enjoy, being there, doing that? Like, what aspect of it do you enjoy if you do enjoy it?
yeah. I've never been a huge car guy. I
Me
mean,
neither.
yeah. I mean, I like cars; they're cool, but it's not like that wasn't like a huge passion of mine.
Yeah.
My passion was more helping people.
Mhm.
So a lot of people, a lot of salesmen, they don't like the delivery process. I kind of like it. I like to get to know my customers, talk to them, build a relationship, and I would say that's the biggest downfall with automotive industry, just because there isn't really a that's my automotive guy.
Mhm.
Um, you know, you buy a car what every 5 years on average, 4 or 5 years.
Mhm.
So, I think it would be cool to have kind of a base to where, I can talk and keep up with my clients and, have a relationship there. So
Mhm.
that's where I would say is the only thing that it's like, kind of missing. But other than that, it's really, really fun. It's a great time. I got great people around me. So it's a good company and I definitely like doing what I do. Love helping people for the most part. So that's, you know,
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's the most important part in any, industry. It's all about people, helping each other,
Right.
because, we are consumers on the other side of things, when we're buying stuff, because we also buy stuff. And so, you know, like the word says, hey, treat others as you want to be treated,
Right.
so we take care of people, we give back, and we definitely do that. So, oh, that's awesome, man. And so you obviously like it at Benton, and you've been there a couple years now, as well. Now, have you seen changes in the 2 years that you've been there, especially with everything that's kind of going on now? This year obviously has been a lot different. It's been unique,
Yeah.
tough, but at the same time, I think it's been good in many ways as well. So, um,
Yeah.
yeah, talk about
Yeah.
that a little bit.
Yeah, good changes. I thought COVID was going to hit us a lot different than it did. I
Mhm.
think a lot of businesses expected it to kind of tank, in a way, and it's kind of the opposite. I think people really wanted to get out there, support local businesses, and
Mhm.
we caught wind of that. I mean, there was a lot of customers coming in for the first couple months after we were back in the office, so
Yeah, it's
that
awesome.
felt really good. Yeah. It hit us by surprise.
Yeah,
Even so
yeah,
a
yeah,
lot of deals to sign you
yeah.
probably weren't expecting. So
That's right.
um, that was really good. But yeah, I think this business is really nice because, you learn something new every day. I mean, even you've been in the business for 20 years. I'm sure you learned something, maybe not every day, but you're always learning new things.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's always something coming out. Like you said, I mean, 20 years ago was the internet. What's it going to be in 5 years?
Right.
So it's always changing.
Yeah.
But it's cool. It's great. We got new systems in the last 2 years. Those have been working out really well. We've kind of changed on how we do our leads, and you know yeah, I mean, it's
Good.
growing really well.
Good. Good. So is inventory an issue right now? Like you find that you're starting to pick up on cars a little bit. Like how's that going?
Right. Yeah. So inventory, for me, it's a little tough just because the buying right now is kind of tough. The market is a little bit higher, which again, we didn't expect that. I mean, who knew that cars were going to be more expensive after COVID?
Hmm.
So it's kind of tough to buy cars right now for a price to where we can sell it. We lose money on some of the cars right after we buy it,
Yeah.
which a lot of people have this, I don't know, this idea that car salesmen are just they're
Yeah.
just trying to rip your wallets out or something like that, but it's like
Yeah.
it's just not how it works these days. It's a lot smaller of a gap there now. So
Yeah.
I would say that's the biggest thing. It's just a little tough to buy cars. So we have a lot of our inventory in terms of Volkswagen, Volvo, Mercedes.
Hmm.
Um, but that's for the most part what we have.
Yeah.
It's kind of tough for us to buy anything else when the market's the way it is right now. But that's
Right.
okay. We got cars.
Got
So,
cars. Well, good.
a month ago we had 20. There was
Yeah.
yeah, there
All
was
angled, right?
right,
Yeah.
right. There was
Yeah.
who did that? Wood TV8, I think.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, they did an
Hmm.
article on that, and
Yep.
they had a drone camera hovering our.
Yeah. Yeah.
It didn't look hot.
No, no, it looked
Didn't look
empty,
good.
man.
Yeah,
But like you said, we have more now. But it's interesting you bring that up, in terms of how people perceive, the auto industry and even other industries, but definitely in the auto industry. And obviously that had a lot to do with, how things were in the past,
oh
but
yeah.
the
Hmm.
internet truly changed that, when I started in the industry, but it's revolutionized it now, because the difference between the internet and when I started and now is that it's right in your hand. Every individual has pretty much a phone right in their hands, and they can look information up right as they're talking to you, you know.
Yeah.
So it definitely makes that a little more difficult, and people don't understand that live market type pricing, you know. It's like it's constantly changing. I mean, just on the fly, you know. So the days of, you know, giving thousands of dollars of discounts, like it just doesn't necessarily exist, you know. So kind of explain to them what live market pricing is, you know.
Right. The best way for me to explain it, I always tell people when my manager buys a vehicle, right? We have something called a certified pre-owned vehicle, right? So a lot of people probably know what this is. It's a really great way to buy a pre-owned car and not worry about, you know, things going wrong because you have a warranty and things along those lines. So when we buy that car and we certify it, no matter what needs to be done to that car, there's a more rigorous inspection. We have to fix that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So no matter how much that's going to cost, 3-4 grand, if we have to put all 4 new tires on there, brakes, the whole 9 yards, right?
Yeah.
We are going to price that car before we touch it. Okay. So it's going to get priced immediately when we buy it.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, that kind of just tells you how close to the market we are. We look exactly where that car is priced at in the market. And then, you know, whatever we have to do to the car, we're going to do it either way. So we could be upside down on a car we just bought, but it doesn't matter. That's where it's at in the market.
Right.
You know, and that's how we price cars. Sometimes we get a little lucky, right? You know, but you know, we gotta eat too at the end of the day.
That's right.
Put food on the table too. So, you know, it goes hand in hand, but yeah, that's the best way I like to explain it. It's like we price these cars right away, no matter what. We look at, I think Doug does 150-mile radius. So he looks at all the same make, model, trim level. It's all lined up. And he makes sure that he prices it, you know, very well. We want people to come in.
Right.
You know?
Right.
No one's going to come in if our prices are, you know, $1 grand more than everyone else's.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yep.
That's good. And I'm glad you kind of touched on certified cars, because that is definitely a big difference between buying, you know, from us, especially when it comes to Mercedes, Volkswagen, Volvo, you know, kind of buying that vehicle from you compared to like a CarMax or something down the road, you know. They can't certify those vehicles, and having certifications now. You know, with Volvo and Mercedes, kind of explain that certification, because I think they go above and beyond with what they do for, especially some, let's say, like some of our consultants out there who drive a ton of miles. You know, one of the benefits to them on the certification side with Volvo and Mercedes would be what?
Yeah. So, yeah, I kind of only touched on the inspection, but since we do that big inspection, there's a reason we have to fix everything that needs to be fixed in that, because when we do that, it extends your warranty too. So a Volvo and Mercedes warranty are 4 years, 50,000 miles, bumper to bumper. When we certify it, it changes that to 5 years unlimited. So that's not 5 years unlimited when you buy it. That changes the warranty. So that's 5 years from the original in-service date. You know, let's say it was a 2017. You're going to have right around 2022 in unlimited mileage. So, and that's all bumper to bumper.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, I have a lot of medical sales customers. They drive a lot, but they like to be comfortable because they're in their car all the time. So even when they're in Chicago, they're sitting in their car, just on their phone, doing whatever. Right.
Right.
So they'll come in, buy a Volvo. I mean, it makes sense. You have unlimited mile warranty, and cool thing with Volvo is you can extend that up to 10 years, 11 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
From the original service date. Yeah. That's huge.
Right. That's insane. I mean, I always tell people that is, and they're like, what? That is,
yeah, exactly.
Doesn't even make sense, but they do it. So why not take advantage?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the big part of it too. I mean, unlimited mileage for somebody who drives a lot of miles, that's huge. To be covered, that peace of mind. You're busy. You got a family. You got work. You got a lot of other things to worry about, and you don't want your car breaking down or having to worry about that problem. So,
yeah, good. Good. Well, that's awesome, man. And kind of back. I know you touched a little bit on kind of some of the credit things. What would you say? Maybe some of the questions that if you will, your age group, would have maybe even centered around credit, so that I can answer some of those for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. One of the questions that I was going to say is a lot of people come in, and they're kind of just like, what's the rate going to be?
Yeah.
Which it's a hilarious question to me, but then you start to think about it. It's like, wow, you don't even really know what credit is once you start getting into it.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these customers, they're just not aware.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll just ask, what's the rate? Like there's one rate or something like that. So, a lot of times you have to sit them down and let them know, but there isn't just a single rate, and that has to do with a lot of different factors. So why don't you tell everybody about what factors go into getting a rate. I mean, what are all the factors? Because it's not just your credit score. That's not all you look at, right?
Right. No, it isn't. It's not just your credit score. Perfect example, right? And I we well, I had a situation here just a couple weeks ago. I had an 839 credit score, and they got declined.
Wow.
Now, you would never ever think that was possible. And typically, we make the joke, hey, you got 800 credit score, you buy whatever you want. But the fact is, they got declined. There are a lot of factors that go into it. Lenders look at your overall risk. Now, the credit score tells them a lot about a risk factor. However, they got to know that you can afford it. Just because you got an 800 credit score and you make, $20,000 a year and you're trying to buy an $80,000 car, the two just don't match.
Nope.
So they're not going to extend credit to someone like that, right? So they're going to look at your house time, your job time. They're looking for stability, right? They want to know, is this a stable person? Can we trust that? Listen, we're going to get our money back. And not have to write it off or charge it off or, cost us more money and come in and look for it, try to find them through contacting other people. Like there's a lot of things that, the lenders are looking at. The rates are dictated, yes, by credit score, but it's also dictated by a loan to value, right? So let's say someone's coming in, they got good credit, they got good income, everything looks good, but for whatever reason, they had negative equity in their old car. So now they're trying to add that to the new car, and now they're asking for 130% value of the new car, plus you got taxes and all these other things. So they're like, okay, we'll do this, but we're going to charge a higher rate because there's more risk involved. Because what, God forbid, that car gets totaled, and now we're going to have to trust you to pay us even more when your insurance company won't give it to you, right? So there's a lot of different factors that factor in the rate. So it's not just a simple, hey, I got this credit, this car, what's the rate, especially with banks. Credit unions are a little bit different. They will post rates and things like that, but it's dictated by term, and others. And even with credit unions, it could still be that way when it comes to down payment or, like I said, just the LTV side of things. So that's why we never try to just talk about rates, because once you say something and then you set that expectation automatically, and then when you can't give that and produce that, then it creates this environment when it wasn't intentional, right? You didn't tell them something intentionally. You told them, well, that based on this, but the expectation's already been set, so we always try to run it through first and then be able to come in and hopefully come under so that we're, exceeding those expectations, So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
There's a lot that goes into it.
There's a lot that goes into it, and people, you don't know until you've been through it, or until you learn, when you're on that side of things, so and especially in today's day and age, I mean, we just got a report like over, I think 70 something percent right now in, the raise in terms of identity theft and all these things that are going up because of everything going on. So many more people are on their computers with all the COVID and things like that. And so we are seeing a tremendous spike when it comes to identity theft and information being stolen off of computers and phones. And so, today, in today's day and age, you need to be protected. Like, you need to have your credit monitoring in place, your identity insurance and things in place, because we always have this mindset it'll never happen to us until it happens, and that's always the problem. And that's what insurance is there for. And so you know it's just one of those things you have to do, because you are always better safe than sorry. We talk to clients all the time who will go through this, and then they're coming to us to help them get this sorted out. And so that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. That's the day and age we live in, and it's better to be protected than not protected. And it's for you and your family in the long run. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, good, man. Well, kind of think we'll wrap it up, but I appreciate it. It's awesome having a conversation, especially with my son, and just to really talk about a couple things that are passionate to us. But why don't you kind of tell people how they can get in touch with you if they have questions? Like to see if you can help them, maybe get a car and things like that. So
yeah, you can always reach me. My cell is probably the easiest way to get a hold of me. Always in front of our phones. So 616-438-3397. You can also reach me at my email. That's jjackson. Oh, it's right there at the screen. Okay. Yep. So right there at the bottom, jjackson at
at the bottom.
Yep. So, and yeah, we're right on Southeast side, 28th Street, 5901, 28 Southeast. So you can always come in, stop in, ask for Josh and pre-owned. I'll be happy to help you out. Everything's online too. So website's right there, bentonimports.com. All the prices for the most part, pictures for the most part, everything's going to be right online, at your disposal. So
nice. And as in always, if you guys want to reach out, you can touch base with me at www.guaranteedsolutions.com. Give us a call, 616-800-1017. Also, if you want to connect with me personally, they call me the Credit Coach, Coach D. You can find me on Instagram at the Credit Coach 01, or look me up on YouTube at just the Credit Coach. So, but I'd be happy to connect with you guys. Always touch base. I'll give shout outs to everybody. I thank you guys for kind of joining us. Yeah, man, if there's any questions that anybody has, like I said, touch base with us. We are here to serve people. That's why I want to do this and continue doing this, because for me to be able to give back, give information, highlight people that we've built trust with, that we know will take care of people, especially in these industries, and obviously automotive and credit are very, very much intricately woven, and so you can't pay cash. You are buying it using the bank's money, and even sometimes when you can pay cash, people still use the bank's money, especially when they can make more in the market and other places. So,
yeah.
But hey, man, I really appreciate you guys all joining us. And like I said, reach out to us, feel free to ask questions, private message us, call us, that's what we're here for. We really appreciate you guys taking the time to listen and join us tonight. And, we'll be coming back with more for you guys as well. So
yeah,
you want to have us talk about some different topics, feel free to message us as well. We'll be happy to discuss some of those topics. So Coach D and Josh out. You guys have a great afternoon.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Love you, man.
All right.